this home to do part 1 and part 2. This is part 3 this evening, Women and Water of Wiltshire. For anybody who don't know, I'm a farm labourer's son. My dad worked on farms all his life, going from tithe cottage to tithe cottage, and because I grew up around the area and I love the countryside so much, which my daughters didn't, well, my daughters grew up too ill. These slides and a book that I've written go in a lot more detail, and the video are for me daughters. When I'm dead and gone, I shan't leave them any money. I shall leave them all these things to look back on. So tonight, for about an hour, Women and Water of Wiltshire. It's no good dropping off to sleep in the back, because I bring this stick so that I'm pointing things on the screen. And of course, Marlene here, I can prompt her, but Marlene knows when to. I work my tongue and Marlene works her thumb. But I ask questions, it's light-hearted, and bear in mind that I'm wearing a daisy tie. Now that means something, a daisy tie. Now, if we can turn the projector on, turn the light off, our Diane.
You'll have to pull this one down,
Because, yeah, this is recorded at Barrow's house on, what's it, the 28th of March 2001. Right, now, a long time ago, if you remember, I was brought up around the Downs, the Wiltshire countryside, and this is centre to most of the places what I'm going to talk about this evening. The next slide, and it works alright. Focusing now, this is Cherrow Monument, Cherrow White Horse, and my grandfather said as long as he can see the Cherrow Monument, he's not lost. But if he couldn't see that, he was lost. They didn't travel this far years ago, is what they do now. Now, Women and Water of Wiltshire. First of all, water. When it did rain, all these downs and the Wiltshire countryside, that's all chalk, and the rain the chalk will soak up the rain until you come to a layer of clay, and clay won't let water through, as gardeners to know. It's heavy, it's hard. So under these hills, these downs, there's brooks, rivers, streams, loads of water. Now tonight, we get, like in Barrow's house, you got all the cold. But where do the people around Wiltshire, around Swindon, get water years ago? The next slide. This is a little village called Cliff Piper. I expect you've heard of it. Cliff Piper. Mum grew up there, his little girl, and when she was thirsty, and that spring was still water coming out there then, Mum used to cup her hands and drink the water. A generation later, when I lived around Cliff Piper and Bushton, we used to play around there and cup our hands, drink water. We didn't have a Sainsbury's to go to get buy Cokes then, you see, so that's where you get the water from. That's dried up since I took that slide, because I took that slide about 20 years ago. But the water to drop into a trough or a trough, because I didn't know what I used to say a trough, and then several people corrected me and says it's a trough. Marlene says it's a trough. I said, well, I can't remember that word. Marlene says, oh, cough. So that's a trough, where the cows go up and down up the road, drink the water from the trough, or the trough. It's dried up. Don't get it now. But the next slide. If you drive from West Swindon, Asda, up towards Purton and Lydiard Millicent, that's the road. I don't know whether you can see on the camera. Washpool and Common Platte. Because in the Middle Ages, in the 17th and 18th century, down Washpool, they dammed a big river, a brook, to make a big pool where they used to wash the sheep. A wash pool, washing the sheep. Common Platte means common land, where they used to, the common land where the cows and sheep used to graze, eat. But Washpool, and then by Peatmore, very low and boggy, so there's lots of springs around there. All these slides, except for 2, was taken in the month of May in 1996. Lovely month, that. But Washpool, because there was lots of water down there. And if they build houses on that, front garden of Swindon, they'll have problems because of all the springs coming up around there. And the next slide. Purton Street. Now this afternoon, the people at Chipman, they said Purton, don't know where that is much, but of course us Swindonians do. Notice it's been raining. You've got to make sure. But now, this is Purton Street, that to go down over the railway bridge, past the Ghost Trade Pub and on to Cricklade. And if you remember, I spoke about St Sampson's Church at Cricklade, and you can just see it there, the tower of St Sampson's Church. Now, because it's very low land all around, there's some of the lowest land in Wiltshire. The next slide. A mile out of Cricklade, there's Purton Stoke. And you remember what I spoke about Purton Stoke? Dr. Sadler's spring. The water used to come out from the spring at the bottom of his garden, and people used to come from miles around to get the water to drink for medicinal purposes. Cure anything from gout to baldness to ulcers. I drank it, but it didn't make my mare, bro. But Dr. Sadler's spring, in 1859, he was very ill, and in 1860 he nearly died. So his wife said, why don't you drink some of that water what comes out of the spring? Even though he had it filled in, because people used to come and trot over his cabbages and potatoes and his white flowers, and it annoyed them, so they filled it in. But he fell ill in 1860. And his son and his wife got him to lift the cover over it, and he drank it, and he made a miraculous recovery. And he was so pleased about that, because he nearly died, as I said, that in April 1860, at his expense, he had that outhouse built. A listed building, can't be knocked down, and in April 1860, when they opened it, they had the equivalent majorette dancers, party celebrations, bands all playing and celebrating, but then he charged a penny a quart for that water, and they come from all over the place to buy the water, and as late as 1954 they was exporting that water up as far as Scotland. But with the advent of modern medicine and so on, people didn't believe in the water, so it fell out of favour. Used to have outdoors there, they're gone now. But anyway, that's because it's very low land, water to come out the ground. Next slide. Going up that road a bit, another mile out of Cricklade, because that road to go towards Cricklade, this road down here to come towards Purton. If you go along that road in a car next time, you notice that there's some stones there. One there and one there. He's a bit out of focus. It ain't tombstones where people's been buried by the side of the road. It's floodstones where years ago they put stones so that when it did get flooded, you could see how deep the water was. If you couldn't see the stones, you knew that it was about 2 foot deep, and you had to be careful. If you could see the tops of it, you knew it was about 1 foot to 18 inches deep. So they put them there, floodstones. Nowadays, it don't get flooded as much because the Thames Water or whoever it is, they've drained all that, but it used to get terribly flooded. Next slide. That's changing the focal length. That's all out of focus, but that shows the other stone there. There's several stones along that road, and indeed, lowland around Wiltshire, you still do see some of these stones where it tells you how deep the water was. We're still on water. It gets more interesting when I talk about women. And 1 or 2 surprises, so as no one dropping off to sleep at the moment. Next slide, that's right, Marlene's on the ball, on the thumb. By they floodstones, it says Cricklade 1 mile up that way, Cirencester 8, Purton 3 miles down here towards me. There's this house. Now, it has got a well in the front garden. Not many people around here have got wells in their front garden because we got hot and cold running water and flush toilets. We take it for granted. When I show these slides, of course people to tell us things that we to remember, what people to tell us, go around with a camera and do another slideshow. At the moment we've got 5 slideshows through what people have told us. But a lady said, oh, in the last century, about 80 years ago, my mother lived in that house and I grew up there as a little girl. I said, oh, that's a bit interesting. She said, we used to call that no